thanks to everyone for your time here. Over the next few minutes, we're going to talk about something that I think 3 years ago, if the topic of social media had come up at this conference, many of you would have said something like this: social media is just a passing fad. But in fact, we see from the numbers, social media is here to stay. This is something that is the real deal. There were 12 talks on the program's agenda yesterday that had something to do with social media or something they're related to. As Dr. Germain said, I work with a firm called Total Social Solutions. We are dedicated to the growth of medical aesthetic practices through the use of social media efforts, and we don't do SEO, we don't do websites, we just focus on building your practices. I'm also an administrator like you, but I've had a chance to work with many of you over the last decade during my time with the Botox Cosmetic brand. What we'll do, we're going to get things started. We'll lay a little bit of foundational groundwork, which hopefully will add on to some things that you heard yesterday. We're going to talk a little bit why social media is different and how to make a little bit of money off of it. Ultimately, that's why you've made the investment to be here, and we'll give you 7 reasons why, how you can start making money off social media as soon as you get back. But to really look at this from a 100,000-foot view, let's look at marketing's evolution. In the 1800s, it was really, marketing was limited to what you could put on the sign above your storefront. Really, that was it, or town criers passing out flyers on the corner. Early to mid-20th century, you had billboards, yellow pages, you had slick magazine ads. Marketing really did evolve, and then into the 80s and 90s, you had mass communications such as television, broadcast media, syndicated radio, and this thing called America Online introduced us to something called the pop-up advertisement, paid advertising through this digital channel, this new channel called the internet. And there's really been a digital revolution just within the last 10 years, which can really need to be called out in a separate chart here. For those of you that administered a practice in 2000 or worked at a practice, you had a big website, desktop computers. It was something that was rather clunky, took forever to load. You couldn't get video on there. It was difficult to do due to bandwidth constrictions. And you had to pay for these pop-up ads on AOL and other sites that were out at the time. January 2007, the world changed. When Steve Jobs introduced the iPhone, he delivered what he called your life in your pocket. And I think all of us would agree with that. You know, here we all have within our pockets this device that allows for us to broadcast every thought, every feeling, every emotion, every rant, every rave from wherever we are at any time. So as a result, our sites had to go more mobile friendly with the ubiquity of Wi-Fi, recognizing that our patients can be leaving reviews about our practices wherever they might be, including in our offices. And really this has all of this technology has driven this avalanche of energy around social media. And social media literally, and looking this from another big picture perspective, it's really changing the world. We're sitting here trying to figure out how is it that we can get a few additional patients into our aesthetic practices. Dictators are being overthrown through social media. Boundaries of countries are being changed. The Occupy movement, the riots over in Greece, all of this is being fueled by social media. We have an incredibly powerful tool, but with this power comes the fact that your reputation is at stake, like it never has been before. Because of the fact that Dr. Germain made a great point earlier, that people now there's this force multiplier with social media where people aren't just telling 3 or 5 people, they can tell thousands with just one post or one tweet or one click. So it becomes that much more important that all of you start to begin building a community around your brand that rallies around your brand that ultimately becomes a business asset that we're going to talk about here shortly. And it's more than just Facebook and Twitter. It's all about incorporating all of the major social media spaces to basically create a cash-generating and revenue-driving machine for you through social media. So let's talk about why social media is different. And this is something I think came out nicely yesterday through a lot of the talks, but to give another perspective on it, I want to start from the foundations. Let's go back to Practice Growth 101. How is it that you do this? There are 3 ways in which you grow a practice, and we all know this. It's going to be get more people coming in the door, recruit more people, convert people over from other treatments to whatever treatment you're trying to drive, or have them come back more often. Recruit, convert, retain. We've all heard it a million times. Everything fits within that, any way you can grow your practice. So let's look at the old paradigm using traditional media and PR. Me being a traditional marketing guy myself, it's a fantastic way to recruit people, get people coming in your door. And it's a decent conversion tool. It's theoretic that one of your patients can be driving down the freeway, hear your radio ad, and become aware of a procedure that they didn't get from you. Therefore, it's a little bit of a conversion effort. doesn't do very much in the way of retention, and it's transient. Once that message has been broadcast, it is gone, and you're not getting it back. But with social media, you have this recruitment tool whereby friends can tell their friends about all the great things you do in your clinic. It's a fantastic conversion tool. You have a captive audience that's aligned with your brand and wants to hear all about the things that you are offering. And it's the greatest retention tool that we've ever had in the field of medical aesthetics, because you've got this captive audience that you're able to communicate with in a two-way manner on an ongoing basis, and it's permanent. This is something that's a permanent business asset that you can take with you and continue to build and do things with that you were never able to do with a email list or the like. And this really does become a business asset. It's not a transient message like one-way communication like in the days of traditional media and PR, which I think still definitely play a role, by the way. But really your brand ultimately has the ability to touch hundreds, thousands, even millions of people by going viral very, very quickly through social media. And that's how your community in social media really becomes this permanent, tangible business asset. And looking at word of mouth and the limitations under traditional media and PR, obviously it was a happy patient tells three other friends or maybe a few others at a party. In the age of social media, again, it's this force multiplier. Thousands of people instantly can know about the great things you're doing in your practice. But here's the hard truth, and I think if you listened in on yesterday's great programs, and you're sitting there thinking, boy, this social media thing, we really do need to get on it when we get back to the office. The fact is you're already running behind, because there are people within all of the markets across the country, and we work with many of them, that are ahead, that really are on the bleeding edge of this, and have figured out how to build this community around their brand. It's like a land grab in the old Wild West. Whoever gets there first and builds the biggest community are going to be the ones that are perceived as the leaders within an area. And if you're not getting out there now, it's akin to back in the mid-1990s if you sat back and said, I don't want to build a website because you can't show me any ROI on it. So why would I invest in that? I'm just going to stick with the Yellow Page ads that have been getting me cases for many, many years. So you want to make sure you're not that person that's sitting in the back. And the statistics really tell the story. For every minute that Americans spend on email, they spend 3 on social media. We literally are addicted to social media. And your target market is viewing social media by choice, 80% of them viewing it by choice every single day. The other knock on social media is that it's just a bunch of kids out there, and I think we've all learned that is absolutely not the case. 55% of Facebook users are over 26, and 55% of those people are women. So this is exactly who we are going after. And 3 out of 5 US-based internet users are actually on Facebook and actively using social media. So let's talk about the key to success in social media. And this is really a big thing to appreciate as we go forward and talk about how it is that you're going to monetize social media within your practice. Quick show of hands. Who in this room uses social media personally? That's a good 85% by quick count there. So, and think to yourselves, what is it that you're doing when you're on social media? And if you're thinking in your mind the answer to that and you're being honest, it's probably this, right? You're being a little bit voyeuristic and finding out what's going on. But what you're doing on social media is you're catching up with friends and family. First and foremost, that's what you are doing. And the secret to success in social media lies within that. And these are some statistics which are a little bit tough to read on this chart, but these are the things that Facebook users say that they're interested in, both women and men. And it's sports and birthdays and food and beverages and pets and travel and things like that. Nowhere within that does it say hearing about a special offer at my aesthetic surgeon's office. That's not the primary reason that they've joined you on social media. You're operating within this trusted newsfeed. The 85% of you that use social media, this looks somewhat familiar. These are the sorts of posts that you see on there, pictures and vacations and happy birthday wishes, etc. And so in order for your brand to be successful on social media, you have to act like a trusted friend. This is the ecosystem in which you're operating in. So the old marketing paradigms of getting your message out there as many times as possible, as many impressions, as loudly and as proudly as you can, doesn't necessarily work within this because it becomes a little bit of an interruption. Because headline news here, guys, what's most important to your clients is them. They're the center of their own universe, and ultimately that's something that you've got to remember. So the old paradigm of blasting out messages through the old one-way channels of traditional media and PR don't necessarily work within social because you have to attract people to their brand. They have to want to be affiliated with your brand. You have to be interesting. So the old school view, and I'm denoting a message that's either a pitch or an offer or some sort of sales message from your office, that becomes perceived as an interruption. It doesn't fit naturally within the flow of social media. But if you're acting like a friend and you're giving information which establishes you as a leader in health and wellness, and you're putting out recipes that are not only tasty but good for your skin, or here's some health and fitness tips that you can use. But then every once in a while you put out a message that talks about your latest promotion in your office. This fits within social media. You're acting like a friend. The other guys are going to get unsubscribed. You ultimately don't want to be that annoying friend. And the analogy is this. We all have, we see our devices and we see a name come up of an annoying friend or a family member that only calls when they want something, and we just hit decline and let it go to voicemail. That's what happens, because you do that because they only call when they want something from you. Don't be that person on social media. What we do with our clients is we put them on the social 80-20, which says for every promotional message that you put out there, you have at least 4 non-promotional messages that just give a great, interesting piece of information to your following with absolutely no strings attached. That's how you act like a friend on social media. But there's 3 must-haves that you've got to have. If you said that you want to do this to be successful, it requires constant monitoring about the changes in social media and then your place in it, how your brand is being perceived and broadcast within social media. You have to stay on top of this 24/7, 365. Much like the work you put into your own waiting room in your office, you have to make sure that your social media space looks good. In just the last 6 months alone, there have been some big changes on Facebook and Google+, for example, which command the fact that you have to have some custom graphics put within your space. And you have to invest some time in some good copywritten material that's non-promotional in nature so that you can act like a friend that leverages the fact that you are an expert in health and wellness and you're more than the person they go to for just their aesthetic procedures. You've got to have the beautiful design, some of the examples of things we've done for our clients. You've got to have that non-promotional content along with the visual images, because this is a very visual medium, social media. And there was a great point earlier, I think Dr. Jermaine, you had mentioned, pulling some interesting tidbits about your staff, but you can share, you have your staff share information that they're comfortable sharing. One of the highest engaged posts that one of our clients threw up was a picture of one of the staff members' sons trick-or-treating on Halloween. And this is not promotional at all, but it connects with people on a personal level and acts like a friend. So great social media marketing means not being a used car salesman, really being more like a pampered chef party, which for any of you who's attended a pampered chef party, I personally have not, you know that there's going to be a sales pitch at some point in the evening, but on a whole, it's going to be something that's going to be enjoyable. So here are the 7 ways, and for sake of time, we are going to go through this very quickly, but I'm going to leave my email up at the end of this presentation. I can send you these slides if you'd like. 7 ways for your practice to monetize social media starting tomorrow. Something we've done for some of our clients are have gift cards installed that can be shared with clients. So this is a great way for someone who's following a particular office to share a gift card where they, for this particular client, was share $50 with a friend of yours, so they get gift credit for giving the $50. The person who gets it feels like they got a $50 bill handed to them, and the office gets a new client coming in. Number 2 is build your base with a charitable like drive, and you can reach out to people within your target demographic or within your particular geographic area and associate yourself with a charity. And this was a drive that we did for a big national brand. We partnered with the Susan G. Komen Foundation. We reached over 500,000 people in 1 week. It was really pretty impressive. But the powerful thing about this is that people ultimately, when they hit like, they feel great about the relationship and how it gets started off with you because you care about something that they care about. If you sell products online through your website, you can sell products on Facebook as well. If they're interacting with you on Facebook, this can be installed. And why not make a little bit of money? And why not fill up your schedules as well? You can set up an appointment booker, request for appointment form right on Facebook as well. You can also encourage testimonials through incentivized contests that can be placed. Obviously, you want to get recommendations, referrals, and buzz out of your following. And you can do that by having incentivized contests on social media as well. And many of the major platforms do allow you to put out offers, and I put a big asterisk there. Check with your attorney before you do anything because this can be a little bit dicey. But this is a way for you to monetize social media. And the simplest, easiest way, if you have been acting like a friend and you have been spamming your audience with all sorts of promotional messages, this stuff really does work. You put out these one-day specials that are exclusively available via the social media networks or to those people, And this is a way to make some fantastic money and get people coming in. But it's all about remembering that your clients are the center of their own universe. Don't be that annoying friend, and let me know if I can be of help. If you'd like a copy of these slides, I'm happy to email them to you. And my email and my mobile phone number is right there. Thank you very much.
Great job. Thank you. And thanks for allowing